It's your host, Tanae Costley, and we are back, finally back with another episode of Real Talk Business and Motivation. Tonight, I have a special guest joining me. Her name is Khloé. She is a mindset coach and creative strategist. I'm really excited because we're getting into thriving with ADHD. So, if you have ADHD, if you think you have ADHD, or if you're just struggling navigating in your business, that's what we're going to get into tonight. Without further ado, I'm going to bring Khloé to the stage.
Hello.
Hey, Khloé, how you feeling?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Just a little funny little backstory for the audience that's joining in. I have been trying to get Khloé on here for, I want to say, over a year now. I know it's in 2024, so I'm really happy you were finally able to join.
Same. I'm excited. It's finally working out. Everything's going clear and flowing. I'm excited. Yes.
I know. And for the people who've been wondering where I've been, where the love's been, we getting back to it. It's 2025. We in second quarter, second half of the year. So I'm definitely about to turn it up a notch. And I know it's long overdue, especially where the world is nowadays and the economy, people struggling in their business, people struggling with mental health. So that's why I'm back, bringing you guys the content. So Khloé, for the people who do not know who you are from a can of paint, can you please introduce yourself? I know I said you were a mindset coach and creative strategist, but just walk us through a little bit about who Khloé is.
Absolutely. So I'm Khloe Ming. I don't know where I should look. My camera. Sorry. I'm new to the live stuff. I'm Khloe Ming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mindset, manifestation, and confidence coach. I do love social media strategy. I feel like it still ties into mindset because how you show up on the internet is based off of how you treat yourself. So I started. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want me to go into more
Oh
now?
no, please keep
Oh,
going.
okay. So I say about 5 years ago, I got into create a business strategy via my own social media marketing manager. It's just once you learn a skill, you have an eye for it. And it's like you want to help other people, especially if you've been through the experience yourself. So I realized mindset, creative strategy, it starts within yourself. It starts with you working on yourself. So I got into that. So yeah.
Okay, when did you say you got into that?
In 2020.
2020. Okay, so it's been about 5 years now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What led you into that?
I knew I didn't want to work a 9 to 5, but I didn't know
Okay.
what I wanted to do. So my mentor had me write down a list of everything that I love, from products to a way I could help people via service. And I came across I love helping people, but it's like, what are you going to help people with? And at that time, I was just getting into my femininity journey. I know a lot of people know Shira Seven, or they may know her as the Sprinkle
Yeah,
Sprinkle.
we know her. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
I love her. I was rocking with her like before she got on TikTok, when she was on YouTube. So I learned a lot of things from her. Of course, implemented things in my own journey to have my own experience with it. And while I love femininity, I realized just positive thinking. I've always been the type of person to get people to look at things in a different way, a more positive way. So I'm like, let me hone in on that and let's build upon it.
Okay. I know that's right. I know they always say like your natural God given talent, what other people say you're good at is the thing that you should focus on. So it sounds like you were kind of already helping people with their mindset before you started going down the path of becoming a mindset coach, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I know the topic that you wanted to discuss, particularly is ADHD, and I do think it's so much stigma around it, and a lot of people are struggling with it in silence. So can you tell me more about your journey? Like, when did you? How long have you had ADHD? Like, let's start there.
Sure. I did want to like clarify a general misconception of ADHD. A lot of people
Mhm.
think ADHD is a mental illness, but it's not. It's a neurotype. It's the way your
That's true.
specific brain learns, processes, and experiences. And it's usually different from neurotypical people. So it's not a mental illness, it's just you're different. And that's okay. It's fine to be yourself. But there are some signs, like for me, I started experiencing forgetfulness, misplacing things, just being a bit off my game. I'm usually a very responsible adult, but I just noticed like at the end of 2020 things shifted. And
Mm.
um, maybe in 2021 I started therapy because I got to a point to where I was having conversations with people and I just be crying and I didn't know what was wrong with me. I'm like, oh, I need to talk to somebody. This is not okay. And so, in therapy, they send you through a list of questions to figure out what's going on with you. I was depressed. I had generalized anxiety, and then I was diagnosed with ADHD. And so I realized with me and ADHD is how I communicate. Like I'm a very blunt, straight to the point person, and a lot of people, believe it or not, aren't used to that. So it's like they attack you for being authentic, or you feel alone or like the odd one out because you think differently, but it's still your truth, and it's okay to think differently. So that's something I had to learn on this journey.
Okay, I love that you really got into it. Yeah, you're right. ADHD is neurodivergence, and just to be transparent with my community, I've always knew that my brain worked differently. Just to give a little bit of backstory, since our stories, me and Chloe's stories, kind of align. Growing up, I was a gifted child. I was tested and took gifted programs. Was told I was 4 grade levels ahead. So my brain always worked differently. I was valedictorian. I had like one of those, like I was a high achieving, what you call a gifted child. So as I got older, or practically hit my 30s, I'm still my younger 30 days. But when I started, when 30s hit, and I feel like becoming an entrepreneur changed the way my life worked. So it changed my structure. I no longer had a 9 to 5. I had to be more self-disciplined, had to be more self-reliant. And with changing, I believe changing my path from just a career to entrepreneurship, and then possibly even hitting my 30s, maybe hormones and just the way my brain worked in general. I recently was diagnosed with ADHD and intensive type in March. So I'm like, I don't know. I haven't really been embracing it, but I mean it makes sense because I've talked to other gifted children, who have recently found out they have ADHD, and that's usually how it works when you're a gifted child. You're usually neurodivergent, or what they call twice exceptional. So you're either gifted and maybe high functioning autism, or gifted and have ADHD too. So that's just a fun fact. So thank you for sharing that, Chloe. I did start therapy around the same time that you started too, which is funny. That was around like COVID times, right?
It was like that following summer for me.
Okay,
So
okay,
like 2020, like the summer of 2021, I started.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. All
Yeah, y'all
right.
think you're embracing your ADHD already. It's who you already, it's not a negative label. It's who
I'm
you
like,
are.
how y'all know that? What a little, but I did take a. The test was kind of in depth. The one I had like computer test and all types of stuff. So yeah,
It's deep.
I'm embracing it.
As
So
you should.
I'm just as intrigued in this conversation as the people watching it. So I will try to contribute as well because I've recently been utilizing some strategies. So yeah,
Yes. I love a good banter moment. We can play off of each other. That's perfect. Yes.
yeah. Okay, so before before you went to therapy, you were just kind of maybe navigating your depression and anxiety and found out that you had ADHD, right?
Yes, like I never thought I had depression because I was fully functioning. Like I would go to work, but I would come
Mm-hmm.
home and lay in the bed until I went to work the next day. I didn't do anything else but go to work and rest. That's like all I
Mm-hmm.
had the energy for. And honestly, I didn't even have the energy to go to work, but out of survival, out of programming, you do what you do to survive, right? Just to make some money or have insurance or whatever your reason is for working, right? So I didn't know I was depressed. I'm like, well, I don't want to die or anything. I'm mentally sane. You know what I mean? So I just didn't think it applied to me. But
Right.
I quickly realized it did, and it shows up differently. So yes,
Yeah.
that
That's
was me.
That's a good point. That's a good
Setting.
point. I see we have Anaya tuning in. She said, this is interesting. I can relate. And I think so many other black women or women of color in general can relate to what high functioning depression is. A lot of times we're not just stuck in the bed crying, or we can't move, we can't eat. a lot of times we're still working, we're still running a business, we're still taking care of kids, we're still maybe taking care of a partner or a husband or something like that. So a lot of times we're still functioning with the day-to-day tasks, but we're still struggling. So for me, I know I am extremely high functioning, baby. I look put together. I wear it well, but at the same time, there's things that I might struggle with behind the scenes, and that could look like anything from time management, not being able to manage my time the same, like you said, forgetting things. It could be so many different things. So for those watching, like Anaya or anyone else that's tuning in, that's like, I can relate, or maybe I have ADHD. What other things besides forgetfulness do you feel like were true indicators or symptoms or things that you just struggle with in general that pertains to ADHD? I hope
I
you're
want to
not.
make sure you can hear me real because it froze, but I want to make sure you can hear me good.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's frozen,
Okay.
but I can hear you. So go
Okay.
for it.
As long as we get the message out, that's the most important thing. So yeah, that time management, like time blindness is real. Like I was late to work, like 2020, I did work a 9 to 5. I hated it, but I was late almost every day by maybe 2 to 3 minutes. It'd be like me barely getting there because I underestimated the time it took for me to get ready and to commute. You know what I mean? Things like that. So getting write ups for being late because I'm thinking, well, I woke up at this time. No. I know they say a lot of the times we have the symptoms in childhood, but in women or young girls, it shows up differently because usually the boys are more rambunctious, girls are more, you know, conservative, if you will. Other than that, those are my indicators. But prior to, I didn't notice anything different. Yeah, I was similar to you. Like I was supposed to skip kindergarten, go straight to first grade after preschool, high achiever. Ooh, oh my God, what happened?
You're good. We can
Oh,
still hear you clearly.
oh, okay. I'm like, my screen just went black. Is everything okay? Um, good grades, skipped kindergarten, maintained decent grades. It's like my intelligence wasn't a thing. It was more so, it didn't hit me until adulthood, my mid 20s. And I'm like,
Mm.
what's going on with me? And so I'm like, we got to see about this. But it made sense. Once I got the diagnosis, got an explanation, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, and it's funny that you said that you were in your mid 20s when you felt like, hey, there's something going on, because a lot of people or a lot of women in general, like you said, we might have symptoms in our childhood, but if we're not bouncing off the wall or destroying classrooms or like being really disruptive, then it's kind of ignored. And especially if you are extremely intelligent, then you are, it's definitely going to go underneath the radar. So a lot of women are figuring this out as they reach their maybe upper 20s, mid 20s, 30s. So later on in life, I've talked to so many people who also was like, hey, I was diagnosed when I was 30. I was diagnosed when I was even 40. So it's very interesting. And I feel like it probably is more rampant when those hormonal changes that happen when you start to push those 30s too. I feel like, and especially if you have a major like life change or career change, like 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship. Oh, you totally relying on yourself. No more clocking in and clocking out for someone else. Everything that you put into your business is what you get out. So you have to motivate yourself and you have to be self-disciplined. I hope Khloé is able to rejoin. I know she's having technical difficulties. But yeah, I think this is a very interesting topic and well needed because so many other people are struggling in silence. So I know for me, just to give a recap, this was just something that I recently found out or technically was diagnosed with, which I'm trying to embrace. Work with me now, but in March. So, but like Khloé, high achieving, gifted child. So those things were overlooked. But now, since I'm more self-aware and on my personal development journey, these are things that I wanted to know, like why I am the way I am, like why do I feel like my brain operates different? Like I wanted to be able to really like know my strengths. That way I can utilize them in my business. And that kind of led me to that diagnosis myself. Um, Anaya said my thing is not getting up early enough to really have more time to get ready or do more in the morning. I feel like that is a big thing for women that struggle with ADHD or anybody that struggle with ADHD in general. We got some men in the chat, feel free to chime in. But I hate mornings, but I know how to pull it together in the morning, especially if I have something to do or something to show up for. But even when it came down to the 9 to 5 days, that was always my thing. Oh, today you always late. It was never like really my performance, but it was always lateness. But I feel like being a mom is what keeps me on point. So like making sure that my son gets ready to school and is to school on time is really what keeps me disciplined in the morning. But without that, summer, oh, we struggling over here. Summer no school, struggling. Let's see. You also said, yes, I feel myself getting depressed and overstimulated more often than usual. Yeah, I'm not. I'm really curious, and I need to have me a little therapist, a little counselor on here as well to really chime in and give some insight. So I'm gonna make that one of my goals to really get a therapist or a counselor, someone that can really professionally speak on it, because all I can do is tell my experience, but being overstimulated has been a big thing, and I feel like a lot of times you're able to mass more if you are just working a 9 to 5 because you have that structure. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're already a woman wearing so many hats, especially if you're a single mom, you're juggling even more and you're more likely to get overstimulated, especially if you're struggling with something like anxiety, depression, or if you even have ADHD. Yeah. Oh my God, it's been so long. I hope Chloe's able to rejoin. But I wanted to talk about another thing. So, one of the things that I have helped me to be able to navigate running my business and having ADHD or just wearing so many hats is I've been able to get a life coach. I'm a week in, but I'm so excited to see how 10 weeks in is. I'm so excited to see how that is. But I think it's really important to look for resources. So, Chloe, you're back. So, on top of
Yes. Sorry
you
for that
know,
angle. I had to
of
switch over my
course, of
phone.
course. So on top of having like support groups or support communities, or you just want to make sure you have the resources. I was just telling the people how I just got a life coach a week ago. So I'm so excited about that. But that's one of the things that I'm working on to be able to thrive with ADHD.
100%. Like me, I still have my therapist. I have a manifestation coach, and I'm a manifestation coach. Like we all need guidance and support. Like, don't be afraid to reach out if you need help. I want to encourage the people to, you have to help yourself get better. Don't stay stuck in the loops. Now, it's valid that you feel whatever you feel or have going on, whatever you have going on, but do something about it. Be proactive. I want to encourage that.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see what we didn't get into. What are some of the most effective tools and strategies you've discovered for managing ADHD?
Being authentic, just be yourself. You can't overthink, oh, how is someone going to react if I do this or say this? As long as your intentions are good and you're being authentic, lean into that. That is your superpower. Be authentic. Again, by me not looking at ADHD as a like a a problem, it's really just being yourself and setting up. One thing I can say is, you mentioned discipline early on in this, that this journey has taught me I've never had to be disciplined for anything a day in my life before I started this journey. I set
Mhm.
timers, alarms, things to remind myself to get things, because forgetfulness, right? At least that's the thing. When we have so much we're thinking about, so much going on, sometimes I forget to eat, and I'm like, oh no. But then I have an alarm that reminds me, to keep myself on track. I have to fuel my body, mind, body, and spirit. You have to take care of all parts.
Yeah. That's so true. But are there any like tools or strategies off the top of your head? So for me, I'll just share the one thing that I have to do. Like in order to stay on task, I have to put everything in my calendar. So if it's happening, it needs to be in my calendar, because if it's not in my calendar, I'm going to be more than likely forget. So that includes my personal appointments, that include my son appointments, that includes any business consultations, or even just it's an echo, but even just time blocking. Like if I have to block out time to follow up with clients, if I have to block off time for a project, no matter what it is, it needs to be in my calendar in order for me to really stay on track and to be the most productive. Like I found that extremely effective in order for me to navigate, entrepreneurship and my personal life. So, anybody else out here got to put everything on their calendar, or they forget, oh, I'm the only one.
I definitely would say calendar, writing things down. Like if you like note, I think note.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh,
You're muffled.
How about now? I know you said it was an echo. I put my headphones in, but it made it
No,
worse.
you're good now.
I'm good now. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
definitely the calendar reminders. Again, still the reminders, the alarms. Like I said, I set alarms to eat. I set timers to make sure I'm brushing my teeth for 2 minutes a day. You know what I mean? Making sure I have some type of structure. So not having to remember everything, writing things down, calendars,
Hmm.
alarms, all that stuff helps. Post-its. I have post-its too. Hey, whatever works, whatever gets you getting your stuff done.
Yeah. Okay. So, posting notes we have.
Post notes, yeah.
Okay. A to-do list.
I don't do that, but that's not a bad thing to implement. That's not a bad
Okay.
thing. I just
Good
sometimes I
routine
you
of
know
that.
sometimes I do challenge myself to try to remember. Okay, what do I have to do next? What because it's usually always something else to do, right? So it's like okay, I'll challenge myself and think to improve on my forgetfulness. I don't let it take control of my life, but I do try to stretch myself to remember the things I have to get done. But yeah,
Okay.
those tools like the reminders, the calendar, post-its, putting in places where you're gonna obviously use it a lot, like your refrigerator or your bathroom mirror, places
Yeah.
you're gonna see it for sure.
Yeah, I feel like those work really good for personal tasks. For me, when it comes to like business tasks, all right, I hit my echo.
Oh, that.
For me, when it comes to business tasks and managing a lot of projects, I have to use like a project management system. So that's either Trello or Asana, somewhere where I can manage all my clients' projects is a must, because they count on me in order for me to keep them organized, to keep them on point. And yeah, no one would know that maybe if I didn't have these tools, I wouldn't be the most effective for keeping my clients on track. So just like little small things that you can implement. So systems, and automation. Systems and automation, if you can implement that in your business, you're going to be more effective and your clients will thank you for
I
that.
agree. Yeah, I don't use any type of big. I did use this app called Metricool, and it was like a cross posting app. I have used that at a point. I do utilize Facebook's like scheduled post options because sometimes I get a thought but don't want it to be posted right at that moment, and I'll schedule things
Mhm.
out for up to 30 days, just depending on when it needs to be out there. But yeah, those tools help make your life easier and keep things flowing while you're still living your day-to-day life and doing other things. So definitely.
Yeah. And I feel like if you struggle with writing things down, then we have the notes app on our phone. So just make sure that you jot it down on the notes app. So I do a little bit of both. If I'm at my desk in my space, I'm writing my to-do list down. If I'm still laying in my bed, struggling to get out of my bed in the morning, I am grabbing my phone, opening up my notes app, and jotting down my to-do list there. So as long as you have it somewhere, that's all that matters. And you will notice a difference if you implement some of these tools and strategies.
I 100% agree. Yes,
I don't know
listening.
why I'm hearing an echo.
Dang,
It's
because when I When I put my headphone in, you can't hear it.
Look, everything was trying to stop us from going live today, but we still here,
Look at
so
us. We getting this message out here. The people need to hear it.
nobody commented, so I'm guessing that it's okay.
Right. Y'all let us know if you can't hear us.
Yeah, so tools and strategies. In terms of finances, I'm not going to touch on that too much, but I do know sometimes people with ADHD, they struggle with overspending or they struggle with, little shopping habits. I feel like I really don't have shopping habits like that. If you look at me, you probably would think like, but no, if I do, it's on them clearance racks. But even that, I got in checks.
Yes. I
But
think there
budget.
budget is I'm working on that. I'm not the best at that, but sometimes I know that there's a thing that ADHD people can be impulsive, and that may be true in some areas, but for me with money, yeah, I do have my times where I do have to just trust, oh, the money's coming back, I don't have to worry about it. Of course, my main necessities are taken care of. I have this extra money, okay, I could be a little frivolous, but making sure I still get everything I want and need. But I don't have a big spending problem. I wouldn't say that. But for those who do, I would recommend maybe I utilize ChatGPT a lot. It doesn't replace a real person. However, I think it's handy and it's very insightful. It can help you with a budget, help you tell you
Mhm.
where to put that money and what you should spend it on. Like, these tools are helpful.
Yep. And before we continue any further, I just thought about it. I can actually share a time blocking session a worksheet with anyone who is struggling with time blocking. I've done this with a few of my clients and a few of my friends, and this is how I originally started getting my stuff together as far as being able to time block for self-care, for my business tasks, for my personal tasks. So if you are watching now or if you are watching the replay, feel free to drop your email address, and I'll also see if I can put a digital copy in a chat. Let me see. Mm,
I
Share.
think that's a nice freebie for us. We appreciate that, because I'm gonna have to use that, because we all can tighten up, we all can improve. So anything that helps.
Of course. And just to give you guys a quick preview, can you see my screen, Chloe?
Yep, I could see it.
Okay, this is a time blocking session worksheet. So basically, you will write down your main goals for time blocking, whether that is to improve productivity, ensure work life balance, or dedicate time for self care. You'll write down your three goals. And then under there, we have the business work task section. And that's where you will write down your key tasks, projects, and meetings for this category, estimate the time required for each, and prioritize. And then under that, we have personal and appointments. So that includes all your errands, commitments, and appointments. Under that, we have content creation because we know if we entrepreneurs, we more than likely content creators too. So under here, you want to write down the time you want to block for brainstorming, filming, editing, and publishing. Self care, because we can't neglect that. So that includes anything from meditating, reading to prayer. We had the wellness and health, plan for exercises, meal prepping, planning doctor visits, etc. And then morning routine. What activities will you incorporate into your morning routine, night routine? And then after that, you can kind of do like a schedule overview. So, like I said, use a weekly planner or digital calendar to lay out each task and its respective time block for a typical week. Remember to include buffer times between activities. So this is where you're going to take everything that you wrote on the worksheet and you're going to transfer it over to your calendar. Yeah. So this is what I did back in January, and we're in the second half of the year, and I can say it has worked wonders. Stop
I
sharing my
think that's
screen.
I think that's a beautiful tool. I think that is so nice.
Of course. Thank you. So I did the same thing as far as budgeting too. So I'm learning to break down all of my expenses, all of my subscriptions, It's a bad echo. I don't know where it's coming from. It's not when you talk, it's when I talk.
I wonder. Let me
Write
turn
down
the.
all of my expenses, money going in, money going out, business expenses, personal expenses, and then I look at it each quarter. I see how much money has changed, how much money went out my savings, came in my savings, have I added any new subscriptions? So I have really been um, honing down on budgeting and time blocking, and those have been the most effective tools I have used to manage or thrive with ADHD in my business. So if you're interested, I can drop that worksheet, email that worksheet to you, and I can email the budgeting worksheet to you because I want this to be like a live where you're not just hearing things that might go from one ear and out the other. I actually want you to take the things that I'm saying and implement it because we need actionable steps in order to see a difference, to see a change, and to be more effective.
100%. I'm glad you mentioned that because one of my favorite quotes is knowledge is not power. The application of knowledge is power. Like, none of this is going to be transformative just by simply hearing it. You have to do something to get your own results. And they may, like, I know a lot of things I have to say are going to be very simple, but they're extremely effective. You have to do the work. No one is going to do it for you. It's, this is a discipline. What I will, because I feel like I haven't gotten into the meat and potatoes of everything, but that's important. Actionable steps. I want to encourage people to, take autonomy back in their life and be proactive. Do what you need to do, even if it sounds simple or crazy. Well, not crazy. Clearly, as long as the intentions are good and won't hurt you, try it. I say go for it.
Nay says she just saying this. Thank you for tuning in, Nay. Yeah, I know it's been a while since I went live, so I didn't expect a whole bunch of people to join. And I didn't really do any, marketing or promoting for this, but I plan to be going live more often. Now, since I touched that self care a little bit, what are some of the things that you do to manage your ADHD and overall your mental health that has been most beneficial for you? So, how do you stay balanced with this in your business and personal life without pulling your hair out?
Boundaries. Boundaries are extremely important. And I don't care how it makes anybody feel. I'm not rude. I have to honor my business is called Self First University. And a lot of people hear that and think I'm teaching people to be selfish. No, I'm teaching you to put yourself first in your life. In my eyes, I don't know who else I would put first. This is my life. So boundaries, knowing what I will do, what I won't do, saying no to things, standing clear and firm. Because I refuse to let anybody run amok on me. You're not about to drain me. You're not going to deplete me. And that's the thing. People can't make you do anything. You're allowing it. If people use you and run all over you, that's your doing. You're allowing that behavior. So boundaries are extremely important to me. Knowing my, like, Sundays, I don't do anything. I watch my reality shows, eat my pizza, and I don't care what's going on. As long as it's not an emergency, clearly, I'm into me. I prioritize me on all fronts, whether that's meditating, affirmations, which are a big part of my lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
taking a shower, and just sitting there resting, because I don't know if everybody can relate, but with me and my ADHD, I usually don't have a ton of physical energy. So take something as simple as taking a shower can cause me fatigue. Slowing down, resting, um, really just making sure I'm good before I do anything.
Okay, that's a lot. I know you mentioned affirmations. So can you tell me the importance of affirmations throughout your day, or starting like what are you doing at starting your day at night? How has that helped you?
So there's this book I read. It's called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. I can't think of the name of the author. They used to have the book or the audiobook on YouTube, but
Goddard. Neville Goddard.
I am familiar with Neville Goddard, but that book isn't by him.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Kamal something, but I can't remember his
Let me
name. But that
see.
book, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It, it gave me a routine. So I don't know if people are familiar with mirror work. I started my affirmations by doing mirror work. I literally took a mirror, handheld mirror, or a compact mirror,
and looked at myself for 5 minutes and repeated, I love myself robotically. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. And so what a lot of people don't know is we learn these things by repetition. We learned our name, how to ride a bike. We have to practice this to get good at it. The same thing goes with your mind and your beliefs. So affirmations are not only like tools to just calm down and be positive in the moment. It's really a process. Like you're rewiring neural pathways. You're literally changing your chemistry to believe, because I'm into manifestation. I'm a manifestation coach. We're always manifesting in my belief system. What you're getting is based off of what your dominant beliefs are. So if you believe, oh, men are trash, or I never make enough money, those programmings came usually from childhood, and we haven't done anything differently about it. So I use affirmations to intentionally reprogram my mind. Like I rarely have like just terrible, negative, intrusive thoughts. I'm human, so of course I get them, but I immediately flip it towards something positive. I know that was a lot. I hope I answered your question. But yes, affirmations.
No, is this what's the name of the book? Is that it? By Kamal?
Yep, that's him. Yep, that book, it gives you
Okay.
just, so he basically goes on the principle of the affirmation, I love myself, and the importance of it. And he gives a mirror work routine where you sit in front of the mirror for 5 minutes staring at yourself, repeating this affirmation. So you're one, getting comfortable looking at yourself, and then two, you're reprogramming your subconscious mind by the repetition. Like I've had amazing results with that specific affirmation amongst others that I can share. Yeah, affirmations are, because affirmations is nothing more than just thoughts. Oh, I'm running late for work. That's an affirmation. It's not positive, but it's an affirmation nonetheless. So it's just being mindful of the things you say and think. And if it's not beneficial or favorable for you, it's flipping it. So that's how this became a practice for me. It's not just something, at first I did it for 15 minutes twice a day, seen a big difference, but you have to catch your thoughts. Like if you do a mental diet where you just think nothing positive for like a week, you'll see how negative you think. And it's not any fault of yours. It's society, your environment, your programming. It creates who you are. Say it again.
Conditioning.
Yeah, conditioning. It's all programming, and you can change it, but a lot of people don't know that. You know, it takes work though. Not to discourage anybody. I wholeheartedly recommend it, but it's a discipline. It is a true practice, and it's life changing if done, correctly.
Okay. All right. Another question I had for you is how have you cultivated resilience and a positive self-image as someone thriving with ADHD? Yeah, I'm getting into the nitty-gritty, the meat and the
I
potatoes.
love it. I mean, I'm trying to speak from a person who wasn't there at a point, but I'm trying to think if that ever applied, because I've always been myself. No matter if I was the odd girl out, if no one agreed with me and it's 100 people, I've always stood 10 toes on my beliefs. So it's like I've always been resilient. And that's just not for fluff. That's real. I've always been me. I've learned to take certain masks and layers off to not appease others, but I've always been myself. I've always been authentic. So
Have you always been positive?
I have actually. Like even in high school, I remember people would come to me for advice, and I always would have something positive to say. I've just always been that way, literally. So that's how I know this is a God-given talent that I have, because it's it's innate. It's my innate talent.
Okay. All right. I'll say for me, I would like to think I've always had the most positive image, but I know sometimes I probably struggle with anxiety or depression, and I use social media as my diary or my journal back in my younger days, to the point where if you go digging, you won't find anything because they all deleted and everything. But I feel like as a young mother, I used to sometimes write my thoughts on social media. It's something that I'm not proud of, and I kind of wish I maybe had that knowing, or I don't know, just wish I didn't do that when I was younger. Like I used to talk about how hard being a single mom was, and maybe it was a realistic outlook, but I don't think it was the most positive self-image. But it definitely showed that I'm human.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I don't think it's anything wrong with that. First of all, you were doing the best you could with the knowledge you had. I don't, me personally, I don't believe in regret because what's the point in that? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I believe you can only do better going forward. We can't
that's
change
true.
as, but I get what you're saying. Like, it might have been cringy looking at some of that, but
Yeah.
that was your truth. That was your truth. I mean,
I'm gonna be honest though. Like I wish I was able. I don't have really regrets, but I just feel like I wore my struggles more so. It was more so apparent. Whereas though now you wouldn't even be able to notice if I'm struggling with something unless I choose to be transparent and share it. But back then it was like, I guess becoming a young single mom was really like a change the trajectory of my life. And I didn't know how to keep my footing. And it's something that I learned throughout the years. Now I've always been resilient. But always had the best self image. Debatable. But I
but
say that
that,
all to say if you struggling or if you should be on social media using it as your diary in your younger years, nobody probably remembers, especially if you're changed that mindset. Because I would call it more so of a victim mindset back then. So if you did the work, if you've been working on yourself, doing personal development, self development, then yeah, you can
now
change it like I did. You just post more positive stuff, and as you're changing your mindset, what you show and reflect on the outside is going to show because you're doing the work on the inside anyway. But I'm
100%.
be honest with you, girl was crashing out. Your girl was like, no, I
Hey,
wasn't crashing out like that, but baby, like what was going on back then? Hide. Don't remind me, Facebook, because I'm hiding. Yeah, but
I
that was
get
me.
it. I get it. And I don't think it's anything wrong with that. You've grown. Maybe you didn't, have the best outlet for your thoughts, but your feelings were still
That's
valid.
true.
You know what I mean? But you only could do the best you could. That's how I look at it. But here's my thing about confidence or having it put together. Like, I'm a generally confident person, right?
Hmm.
I've had moments where I've dealt with things, had imposter syndrome, didn't think I was qualified to do certain things. But when I think about it, those weren't my thoughts. That's what somebody else's projection.
It was the conditioning
It was
or
it
the
wasn't
or the projections, like you said, the projections.
that stuff. Like, if we really sit and analyze our thoughts, we realize that I don't believe anything negative is me. I'm gonna just be honest, because if we're talking from a spiritual sense, we're perfect souls. We're having a human experience. Humans go
Mhm.
through things. Humans have challenges. I have bad days. People think that because I do this work that everything's perfect. I just don't. I just know how to discipline myself. I don't get irritated about things like I used to, or as reactive. It's a practice. We have to actively work on these things to see a difference in
That's
the
true.
area. So that's why um you could be confident or well put together in one area, but you could be confident in being a mom but not confident as a plumber. That's still valid. That's not your skill set, that's not your interest, you're not confident in that. Or singing right now on the spot may not be your thing. It's okay, like, but it's still stuff that we can work on, but that doesn't
Mhm.
take away from like your general essence, if you ask me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think May says she loves our transparency. I think I'm sharing that just to say that you can be in a dark spot or a medium lit spot, whatever you want to call it. Not be in the best spot, maybe not show yourself in the best light, maybe not have the right outlet, the right support, or know how to navigate the season that you're going through, but it's definitely possible to change that self image, no matter what it is. And I feel like don't focus on changing your self image, focus on doing the work, the inner work, because when you do the work inner, it's easier to change the outer. Like when I started going to therapy, when I started really changing my mindset to shift into running my own business, starting my own business, I literally had to unlearn a lot of things. I had to release some conditioning, like all of the inner work that I did. I naturally just didn't feel I wasn't relating to writing certain things on social media anymore, but I literally did not know that the only thing I needed to do was start for really getting into personal development. So I say that all to say that you can change it. Just do the inner work.
You
Go
can
to therapy, get a
100%.
life coach, get a business coach, get a mindset coach. You know, do the inner work and invest in yourself. And
I
I got another resource for you. I'll drop later in the chat. But as if you have a low income and you're looking for a life coach, is a nonprofit that can match you with a life coach that you can see once a week for 30 to 45 minutes, and you guys will work towards your goals. So I will drop that in the chat later. If you're interested, make sure you put life coach in the chat, even if it's the replay. If you want that resource, if you want the PDF of the time blocking or the budget sheet, make sure you drop your email address. Don't say I ain't trying to give you these resources.
Hello, and my coach here. Yeah, when y'all see, and I also want to put an emphasis on when you need therapy versus when you need mindset coaching. I think if you're dealing with anything heavy in the nature of, unaliving yourself or deep depression, please seek a therapist. Someone like myself is when you're ready to implement the changes. And now let me be clear with that, because I'm in therapy and I know there are different types of therapy. Everybody's therapy styles are different. I feel from my therapy experience that therapy is great to, one, have someone to talk to, and two, get explanations as to why you feel the way you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying they're not good for anything else, but I'll say I received the most transformation by doing my inner work outside of therapy. That is my experience. We are all different. Don't shoot the messenger. This is just me. But yes, getting support is extremely important. Now, yes, and to your point about you could change your self image at any time, absolutely. Absolutely. In my community, we call it self concept work. It's how you literally see yourself, what you feel about yourself.
Okay.
And that's how the world treats you. Because I know this is a human programming. We want to change the people, places, things outside of us to match us. Not saying it's anything wrong with us. However, we've been through so much as humans, conditioning, the programming experiences, trauma that shapes us, and that reflects how the world treats us. It's not the other way around. We have to change our outlooks on things in order to get a change in our outer reality. I've had it happen. So I gave y'all the affirmation, I love myself. I repeated that robotically for about 3 days. And the way I felt internally was nothing that I ever experienced before. I felt the greatest sense of detachment. And, if you're at a certain level in your journey, detachment is how things are supposed to be. Yes, you can love and care about people, places, and things, but to be attached to it in any type of codependent way is not healthy. So I felt the greatest detachment to things. And that's where you want to be. Love is not this possessive thing that people want to classify it as. So when you're saying I love myself, you feel love within yourself truly. So yeah, that affirmation is life changing. I recommend that for sure. Top tier.
Okay. So a lot of thriving with ADHD is doing the inner work. So yes, we can implement technology, systems, tools, automation. We can implement all of that good stuff in order to be more efficient in our businesses and in our day-to-day life. But it's really important to do the inner work, to work on your mindset. And for some people, that might look like starting with talk therapy. For others, that might look like going straight to mindset if you feel like you don't have anything heavy to unpack or any like serious trauma or conditioning. Because all the time it's not feeling like, oh, like all the way on the deep end. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. Sometimes it could just be I'm functioning, but I'm struggling, or I'm stuck, or I'm still feeling like a victim. I'm in the victim mindset. So it doesn't always have to be an extreme. So if it's stuff that you got to work through in your past, I feel like that's what therapy is for. If you're trying to move forward, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, we're trying to move forward to the work on the future stuff and present stuff. That's what more so mindset coaching is for. Is that correct?
That's my take.
Okay.
And of course, I can't speak on anything other than I know I've had the same therapist for 3 years. I like her. I know her style. And for me, I personally don't get any type of direction. I get someone to talk to, which again, this is not to diminish these things. This is just what I've been through. Therapy for me is to have someone to talk to on a weekly basis and to get explanations as to why I feel what I feel. Like, I didn't know I had ADHD. I didn't know I was forgetting stuff because it's my neurotype. So yes, you get clarity. However, I think there can be sometimes, again, it just all depends. It's factors and everything. It's a lot of recycling the loops, constantly talking, constantly digging. And while that's important to a degree, there has to be a point where you're not just healing, healing, healing. Because you're going to, at least I got to the point where I healed so much that I felt neutral. And neutrality is a beautiful thing to build upon. So once let's say you thought men wasn't nothing. This is your extreme. Men ain't nothing. Then you get here that men are cool people. They're safe. They say, cool. Now you got now you want a king. You got to be like, oh, my man is a king. You have to reprogram your thoughts towards what you do want him to do. I never got that from therapy. Not saying therapists don't, but I just haven't. I did that outside of therapy.
Okay.
So heal, but reprogram. What you go tell yourself after you done healed from your trauma from 10 years ago? You got to tell yourself a different story. This is where the intentional work comes in. This is where our practice. We can't just heal forever. Yeah, I mean, essentially, I feel that's what you're doing on the human journey, but you can't heal one thing and just, what else? What are you going to do about it? You know, and that's where I feel like someone like myself or another life coach or manifestation mindset coach, whatever you want to call it, comes in to give you, like you said, actionable steps to get, because you still have a goal, right? If you don't think men are trash, you've only been dealing with trash men, you think they cool. Now you got to think, my husband is this, I'm this. You have to start thinking towards your desires. So that's where the person comes in, the individual, to do that work.
Okay. So tell me how this mindset coaching or mindset shift in general can help when it comes to entrepreneurs in business.
It helps with everything. Affirmations for me, like you said, setting time blocks to do things, using that creativity, but really the mindset. Like, I'm big on confidence. I'm big on telling yourself you're successful, you're qualified, you're worthy, chosen, deserving. These things become ingrained in you. And by default, when something's a belief, you start to embody that. So you'll start acting like the person that is qualified to be an entrepreneur. You know, you start showing up. And there's this thing called inspired action, where it's an intuitive nudge. So your soul, God, whatever you believe in, telling you, oh, get up and go to Trader Joe's. And you bump into a millionaire that want to invest in your business. It works like that. You have to start. This is a very self-trusting process, because authentically, when you think as far as another human, I don't think there's another human over me. You know, I know there's the government and police, but they don't ruin nothing in my life. So it's like you have to look to yourself to give yourself the answers. You know when to.
So confident.
I'm sorry.
So confidence.
Confidence for sure, but that starts with mindset. It starts with mindset.
Okay. I definitely can relate, and I'll just piggyback in and say that I started my personal development journey the same time I started my entrepreneurship, full-time entrepreneurship journey. I knew when I wanted to quit my job, and I was going to quit my job, and I literally did the same day, put a same day notice in, not a 2 week. But I knew that required a huge mindset shift. So my personal development and entrepreneurship journey went simultaneously, hand in hand. And I always tell people, don't just jump into starting a business without working on personal development or working on your mindset, because it's going to require a lot more from you, especially if you are neurodivergent or you're just, you have ADHD. It's going to challenge you and might overstimulate you. You're not going to have that structure. You're going to have to be even more self-reliant. You're going to have to be even more self-disciplined. You're going to have to be even more self-confident. So I'll just say, as far as my personal journey, like, it was no way I could thrive as an entrepreneur without working on my mindset. Like, literally had to go from limited lack mindset to being able to step into a more limitless abundant mindset. And that came with doing some of that, going back in the past a little bit, going to therapy and figure out, okay, how did I get on this track? How did I get stuck? Or why is it so hard for me to jump out on faith? Because a lot of that, fear, a lot of that fear comes from a lack of confidence in yourself, and it could come from conditioning. So that goes hand in hand with a mindset shift. So I just want my entrepreneurs or my content creators, if you're thinking about starting a business, if you're already running a business and you are stuck, you need to go back to the foundation, and that's your mindset. Because even if you already have a business, you could get stuck.
100%.
And that happens to so many of us. Anytime I get stuck, or if I get a creative block, I'm doing some mindset work.
100%. And I'm glad you touched on, sometimes you have to go back to see the origin of the belief, essentially, is what I took from what you said. I agree. Now, one thing I tell my clients, there's a place for that. Kind of like how I mentioned, you can't just heal forever. There is a place. Yeah, dig a little. I tell my clients, I teach them to robotically affirm, the affirmations I give them. Now, if you get a consistent negative thought, affirm over it. But if it's something that's filled with emotions or trauma, like, I'll give you my example. This is tough. My ex had a baby on me. That was tough. That was tough. Some stuff I sit with, and some stuff I just affirm over. I've been at my forgiveness journey with him for so long that when I think about him, I just immediately go into, I forgive myself, I forgive so-and-so. And then I keep it pushing. But I've gotten to a point to know when I need to sit with something and when I need to be reprogramming. Because I don't think you need to be healing for 10 years now on the same topic. That's just me.
That's true. That's true. And I can say, as someone who has been doing therapy, I knew that therapy could only take me but so far. That's why I feel like it's important to implement more than one resource. So whether it's therapy and mindset coaching, or therapy and life coaching, or therapy and business coaching, therapy can only take you but so far. You're still going to need something to help you, I guess, forward. I want to say forward think, because a lot of therapy, you can get not necessarily stuck in the past, but it's not forward driven. It's not as forward driven as coaching will be. But I don't want to speak too much on it because I'm still new on my life coach journey. But Khloé is a mindset coach, so she's giving me all the gems here. She's dropping all the gems. So if you're listening,
I'm sorry, I would never discredit therapy. I think, again, it's not what you do, is how you do it. I do believe in that. It's not the fact that you're going to therapy. It's, are you going to therapy, and outside of that, are you applying something? Because I'm a meat and potatoes girly. If I don't get any substance, I feel like you're not transformative. I feel like you're not really beneficial. Because if I'm spending my money on you, whether it's a product or service, I'm expecting some type of transformation.
Sure.
That's just how I feel. We go to a personal trainer, we want our body to look different in 3 weeks or 3 months, whatever. We're looking
3 days.
3 days, whatever. That's the goal. 3 days. Have a body. I'm expecting some type of trend. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, going in your, because I just like to be clear on all angles. I don't ever want it to seem like it's not a place for it, but it's knowing your time and your place for things. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
You have your therapy session 1 hour a week, once a week. I do. After that, I'm affirming for 15 minutes. I'm doing mirror work. I'm reciting affirmations. I don't visualize much, but some people are visual. They visualize, close their eyes, and imagine themselves in the end state. It's a lot of factors to this. It's not this or that. It's this and that. It's like that incorporating different practices to
Mm-hmm.
get the results. Because again, in my experience with my therapist, I do CBT therapy. I know there are tons of therapies, but in mine, it's really just talking. Now, sometimes I have to tell my therapist I'm over that. I don't want to talk about it because I refuse to be stuck in loops. Loops keep you stuck. Now, are all loops bad? No, it depends on what's going on in the loop. But if it's not serving you, I'm not going to keep perpetuating the loop. I'm just not doing it. It's other things I could be doing with my mind and my time. That's how I look at it. But
So true.
I am at a certain level, so of course I have grace for people. I don't expect you to hear this and be like, "Oh, tomorrow, let me just." No, it's a place for grace, and then there's a place to challenge yourself. So I'm a very fair coach because I'm on this journey as well. I might have just been doing it for a year or two longer, whatever, but I understand the different factors of everything. So just want to say
So
that.
true. So true. And that's a lot of gems being dropped. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know if you're tuning in, just to give you guys a recap, we're talking about thriving with ADHD in business and in your personal life. So I know we got into a lot of mindset shifts for growth. We talked a little bit about technology and tools. So that looks like maybe Trello or Asana for managing your projects. That may be looking like putting your tasks, your appointments, blocking off time for personal and business tasks on a calendar. That could also look like time tracking apps. I know one I use is called Toggle. You can put it on your laptop as a Google Chrome extension. You can use it as an app, but that will help you keep track of your time spent on a project or a certain task. So that's really important. Alarms on your phone, setting alarms or using an app like Notion could be really helpful as far as technology and tools. Something that we didn't really touch on is ADHD. Well, we did touch on ADHD friendly routines. So, such as time blocking and task batching. So, and time blocking for different stuff, and then also task batching, like stuff that you can put together. So, if you're doing something like content creation, maybe you can batch your content, for example. Or we talked about setting clear boundaries. So, developing daily habits with designated work and break times to maintain balance. Something that we haven't talked about is outsourcing and delegation. So, if you entrepreneurs in general, content creators, or just everyday people, a lot of times we manage and wear a lot of hats. So I think it's really important to outsource and delegate, especially to decrease some of that overstimulation. So if you struggle even with personal tasks like doing laundry, maybe you want to get a laundry service to fold up your clothes. And we're talking about business and you're wearing all the hats in your business. Maybe you want to outsource your tasks to a virtual assistant or have a business operations manager, someone that you can kind of utilize in your business so you're not doing everything. We're trying to decrease that ADHD overwhelm by outsourcing and delegating. Do you have anything to share in that area, Khloé?
I agree wholeheartedly. Since you're mentioning these things, I think of the word convenience because at that point,
Mm-hmm.
spending your money so things can get done that needs to be done that you don't want to do. But with that, I want to add to eating, diet with ADHD. Me personally, I don't like cooking. I do it out of survival. If I don't have anything else but a cooked meal, I'm going to have to. But there are times I simply won't get out of my bed to make me a meal. So I keep snacks available, of course, preferably healthy snacks. I have a little
Mhm.
snack basket by me with like, I don't know, some low cal popcorn or a fig bar, just something. If I just really don't want to eat a full meal or don't feel like going to prepare it or get it, having things by you that make your life convenient that you still need, like food, you need to eat. You can't run on fumes. So I just
Mm.
that might be small, but it might be big to somebody. I know it's made a difference in my life because I will not eat for until 8 p.m. some days. Not often, but it's happened. And I'm like, well, I
And
gotta
it
get
happens for me sometimes too.
yeah,
Sometimes I could be so hyper focused in what I'm doing that I haven't even noticed I haven't eaten to, like you
yeah,
said, 7 or 8 o'clock.
yeah.
So,
It's real.
but yes.
And again, you guys, don't beat yourselves up. We're all human beings on this journey. We all figuring it out. So we're just sharing our experience and what could work, but try it out. Make your life, you're not lazy. That's another thing I want to put out there. Making your life convenient does not make you lazy. Like I remember, I'm not a mother, but I do see a lot of mother content. Like they have the Breeza, whatever these machines that conveniently make the milk. And some people like, why are y'all so lazy to where you don't want to make your baby a bottle of milk by hand? What if I'm exhausted for being giving birth to a human and I don't want to? I want something convenient. Like, don't shame yourself for wanting a simple, soft, convenient life. It's okay. You were never meant to struggle. You were never
Yeah.
meant to go through those things. So anything that helps you be a better person, whether it's like you said, a laundry service, or if you get a chauffeur because you can't stand driving, you need to reply to these emails and you don't know this Uber driver. Whatever you have to do to make your life easy, I say do it. Do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that could be outsourcing and delegating anything from administration to scheduling to operational tasks. So outsourcing and delegation is important. I think what you touched on with the nutrition and the diet is prioritizing health to boost productivity. So on top of nutrition and diet, you want to make sure that you're getting regular exercise. I know I am slowly but surely rolling out a better routine to stay active, but that's really important, especially if you have ADHD. You need exercise, you need nutrition, you need good sleep hygiene. And I know sometimes a lot of us can struggle with weird sleep patterns, but it's really important to make sure we're consistent with our sleep routines in order to increase our focus and energy. So prioritizing health in order to boost productivity is important. Exercise, sleep, nutrition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even if
very.
it's just walk around the block. Like I walked today. I'm not a big workout girly. I've had a personal trainer. I've had Orange Theory memberships. It's not for me. But I do like being active, because hello, love it here. But even if it's yoga, it doesn't have to be working out, lifting weights. Yoga, you seen people that do yoga, their bodies are amazing. I don't care if it's a sport, I don't care if it's tennis, whatever keeps you active, go for that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That
like
stimulates your dopamine, right?
yeah,
Because you're,
definitely.
yeah.
Because we usually try to get that fake dopamine from our phones, or me, I'm a nicotine smoker out of habit. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's just a lot of things that come with ADHD, but there are things you can do to help yourself. There are nervous system regulation exercises, breath work, grounding.
Mhm.
Literally, I'll go outside, walk around barefoot in the grass, or sit in the grass, just connecting with the earth. Those things help you. So, like I said earlier, it's mind, body, and spirit. Yes, mindset work to me is the foundation of it, but you still are a soul and you have
Mhm.
a physical body here. So you have to take care of all parts of you. So I hope anything I've said has helped, even if it's this much. I hope it
Yeah. I know you just mentioned breath work and it was something before that. It was breath work and what else?
meditation.
Okay, meditation. How have those things helped you along your ADHD journey?
I used to hate meditate. About 5 years ago, you couldn't have paid me to meditate. I was like, I'm not about
Mhm.
to sit still for 5 minutes. Are you crazy? Once I did it, I started, and this is the thing, I didn't jump in at 20 minutes. I started at 5 minutes, went to 10 minutes. Maybe every 3 days, I progressed by 5 minutes. Then I got up to 15 minutes, and that's my sweet spot. But sometimes I do want longer peace because to me, meditating is calming your mind so you can hear yourself fully. It
Mm.
made a tremendous difference. I love meditation, but like all of these practices, I recommend starting small. Yeah, you can go for the gusto if you want. If you want to do 15 minutes of affirmation, I mean, not affirmations, sorry, see where my mind is. If you want to do 15 minutes of meditation, jump in, go for it, challenge yourself. But if you want it to be sustainable, I say start small. Try 5 minutes, see how you felt. Did you get jittery? Did you get anxious? Same with mirror work. Just look at yourself in the mirror for 5 minutes. But yeah,
Mhm.
meditation works wonders to calming your mind and really hearing your thoughts. Um, Grounding, love it. Just to, I like to release that energy into the earth and give it to God. And breath work is amazing. The Wim Hof breath work, I recommend.
Mm.
Wim, I think it's spelled WIMHOF breath work.
Okay.
This stuff works. It Because the thing is, your nervous system, all these functions, the ego, the brain, the nervous system, is to keep you safe. We love those functions, but sometimes it's keeping us blocked from new safe experiences. So we have to calm it down to let it know, hey, it's okay for me to receive $10,000 today. Because remember, 5 months ago, you didn't even your card declined at the grocery store. We have to get our body, not only our mind, but our body on board too. Because again, I can't emphasize it enough. Mind, body, and spirit. Take care of all parts of you. And these tools help. So
yeah. Okay, so our list got longer. We have exercise, sleep hygiene, nutrition, breath work, meditation, and grounding, I believe, for our ways to prioritize health to boost productivity. Okay. All right. So another thing I want to jump into is simplifying your workspace. So what does that can look like for you? Declutter your space and organize. Like, I don't know if you guys can see back here, but I need everything to stay organized. I need files to be with files. I need stuff to like be really, really organized so I won't get overwhelmed. I won't get overstimulated. So I'm really big on trying to declutter my workspace because usually you're going to kind of feel how your your workspace is kind of going to be reflected. So if your workspace is cluttered and a lot of chaos, you might feel like that on the inside and you might not be the most productive. So simplifying your workspace, try to create maybe a minimalistic or at least an organized workspace. Any tips when it comes to that? Are you keeping things simple, organized, or you
you're exposing where I need to work on, which is fine. But honestly, no, I know they call it like organized chaos. It's like I know where everything is. It may not look like somebody else, but I know what I mean. I know what this here means. Don't touch it because it may look junky, but it's still intentional with me. But no, that is something I could better practice at for sure.
Okay.
I'm like I said, y'all, I'm a human being like everybody else.
Look, and what works for one person might not work for the next. So I know people with ADHD, like you said, they have that organized chaos. And I'm just like, how can you function? Because my brain can't function if things are not organized for me. I know I'm going to be chaotic on the inside, or I'm going to be all over the place if everything's all over the place on my desk. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Just like there's so many different branches of ADHD, I feel like that's why certain things work for certain people.
I agree.
So, simplifying your workspace. If that works for you, at least try it. Give it a try.
It can't hurt. That's how I look at it. It couldn't hurt.
Yeah. I know we spoke about developing emotional resilience. So you kind of already spoke about, turning negatives into positives and reframing failures. But another thing I just want to mention is celebrate small wins. A lot of times we are constantly just moving throughout life. We don't take that time to like really reflect. We're focused so much on a big goal. For me, why am I not a millionaire yet? I'm just saying, like, where's the money in my bank account? But it's not there yet. But I need to take a step back. I'm being really intentional about reflecting. What are some of the small wins? Okay, you have relocated. You have changed your environment. You had made it to this level in your business. You may not be here, but you're here. You're not here anymore. So just taking time to celebrate your small wins.
That makes me think about gratitude. Gratitude is extremely important to me. Life in general. Not saying before this journey, I was just on autopilot like everybody else, but I didn't have like a appreciation for life. But I am so grateful for life. I'm grateful for everything. Even I don't care what happened, honestly, because honestly, I'm still here. So it's like, what's to be ungrateful for? I look at everything, even if I get pulled over. Hey, that might have prevented me from getting killed up the street. That's how I look at everything in life.
Lord.
God forbid. But I'm sorry. I hate to be so morbid, but I look at everything.
No, you're good.
I hate to be like that, but I am also a realist. But I look at everything is orchestrated perfectly. So if you made $5 selling your ebook today, that's amazing. Keep thinking that you make 5,000 a day or whatever your goal is. Like, that's the thing about mindset work. We're humans, so we live in a 3D reality, but the imagination is the 5D. This is where we create. So I don't care what's going. I don't care if your bank account is on negative $700. Now, I'm not saying don't be proactive. Like, if you about to be put out, just, oh no, I'm a manifest. I'm not saying don't. You have to make, you only know your situation, but however, you still have to keep your eye on the prize that I'm a millionaire with negative dollars in your bank account. My man treats me the best and you don't even have a man. You have to prepare your mind before, because here's the thing about my work. The goal is not just to manifest material objects. Yes, we live in a 3D reality. However, the most important manifestations I've ever got intentionally was me feeling better as a human. That's most important. So gratitude that was my point. So I'm bringing it back home. Gratitude for everything. You have to be. How you go to the parent and say, I hate my life, and then think you go love the next version of you? You better love and appreciate you as you are. Now, that's not to say you can't improve. That's the whole point of manifesting in the physical, to have a better life, a better outcome. But be grateful and appreciative of everything you're experiencing in this life that you're in right now. In this version of yourself right now, because we go through multiple versions of ourselves when we grow and upgrade. So gratitude, y'all. Be grateful for everything.
Okay. I know Abriel said there's a lot of feedback. I was going to ask you, do you still have those earphones plugged in? Because maybe it's bouncing off the earphones.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Maybe I think when I turned my fan off, it might have sounded better. Let me know if
It's just the echo. Hello.
Did that help at all?
Check 1. Check 2. If you're watching, let me know if that's better. I think it's better.
Okay, I had the fan.
I think it's better.
I don't know if that made a difference. Sorry, y'all.
Okay. So I know there's 3 points I wanted to make in emotional resilience: the reframe failures, celebrate small wins, and then also to focus on progress, not perfection. Because I know a lot of times we're so wound up on being perfect, on making sure everything is just, just on point, just out of this world. But it's very important to focus on the progress over perfection. I don't know if that's just an ADHD thing where we get discouraged if everything is not perfect and there's like unmet standards, but we need to really focus on moving forward even imperfectly. So that's very important. Hey, LaToya. Thank you, girl. Big
hair. Before we got on, your hair is
Thank
cute.
you.
I don't know if you were done. I did want to respond to that.
No, you got this.
I think perfectionism is a trauma response. I dealt with it and it had me develop OCD, which I don't know, some people know it's a form of anxiety. I would hyper focus on whether I read a sentence correctly, and if I didn't, I reread it. That's from me learning how to read when I was a kid. My granddad is a militant man. He didn't play about my education. So yeah, things carry over. First of all, perfection isn't real. If we want, this is how I think, and I'm blunt. If we want to be perfect, we be with God. This is life. We're human beings. Nothing is perfect. That doesn't mean you can't have high highs, but you're gonna have some challenges. It's life. So I don't know if you're familiar with the 4 agreements. Are you?
Tell us more.
It's a book.
The audience doesn't know either.
Okay, so it's this book called The 4 Agreements. Pardon me, I don't remember all these authors' names, but if you look,
I got you.
You got me. You go transcript it for me because I pardon me. I cannot remember all these people's names. But the 4 agreements. There are 4 principles in the book. Always do your very best. Don't assume. Hold on. Wait. Sorry. Got thrown off. Always do your very best. Don't assume. Why am I forgetting them? That's ridiculous. ADHD, it'd be like that. Y'all look it up, the 4, but the one I wanted to focus was always do your very best. And I see
ADHD strikes again. I see the book. So.
It happens. I don't trip. It'd be like that. I forget. But the reason why I brought that principle up is because that's all you can do is your best. We don't have an unlimited amount of free will as human beings throughout the day. I'm sorry, not free will, willpower. You might get 5 errands done and you might need to go to the bank before 5, but if you don't have it in you, You did the best you could, man. You could do it tomorrow. Just do your best. And don't feel bad for not getting everything done. Like, we are human beings, first and foremost, not human doings. Yeah, we do life, we live life, but that perfectionism stuff, yeah, that's the book. That perfectionism stuff isn't real. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. You're not going to be perfect, not here on this earth. So yeah, that's some mental reframing you guys have to do, because nothing's perfect. It might be good, it might be nice, it might be positive, but what's perfect? Nothing. Not here on this earth.
Yep. So that brings me into setting realistic goals by using micro steps. So a lot of times we think of the big goal. So I'll just use one of my goals, million dollar company. Okay. So, and you think of that bit, one goal is like overwhelming, overstimulated. I don't know if I wanted to use myself as an example, but I'm just throwing something out there. But overwhelming, overstimulated. What are the small steps that you need to take to slowly but surely reach your goal? So, thing that's very important for people with ADHD is to do micro steps. So, whether your goal is to get 5 clients this month, okay, what are the small steps that you can take to build your clientele? What does that look like? Does that look like going on LinkedIn and building your connections? Does that look like looking for 1099 contracts on Indeed? Does that look like combing through your social media messages to make sure that you didn't miss anyone that was interested in your services? Does that look like going inside Facebook groups or communities looking for someone who needs your services? Does that look like posting content geared to bring in leads? Like, what micro steps do you need to take to reach your big goal, and kind of break that down into daily tasks to avoid that overwhelm?
Yeah, I would call that like reverse engineering. Like, boom, your goal is this. Like, say it wasn't 5 clients and it was money. Say, okay, your goal is $1 million. What are ways or things you can offer or do to get the million? So it's like reverse engineering, and then that's your game plan.
Yeah.
You accomplish those things, you keep your mindset positive, and you be tenacious. You show up every day
I
for
love that word, tenacious today.
Here.
Like that.
I like that. But yeah, you have to go after, and this is, I only believe in this with things you really love and want. And I'm not saying like you, whatever. Make sure it's something you truly want to do. And I think you'll have that much more fun or purpose out of that, with being intentional and authentic with your desires. I think that's extremely important.
Yeah. And I think just being able to set realistic goals with those micro steps. So think bite size. What is that noise? Crunch, crunch, crunch. What is going on? But bite size, actionable steps. So I think that's something that a coach can help you with. I know that's what I expect to get from my life coach, is being able to set realistic goals and be held accountable by using micro steps. And I do need to drop that resource, but before I get the link, it's called Partners in Change. As a nonprofit organization, and it will help match you with a life coach that you can speak to once a week. So, Khloé, can you kind of give us the difference between mindset coaching and life coaching really quick?
Well, I think they kind of go hand in hand, but I think life coach, no, honestly, I do think they go hand in hand, but I think life coaches are more general. They want to touch on everything. What's going on with your career, or what's going on in your relationship? Not saying there's not a place in mindset for that. However, mindset is strictly just about you and your mind, making sure your beliefs are being. I've never had a life coach. So I don't know their curriculum. I don't know exactly. I just know what I've heard. But I know with me, I'm big on action, because this is your life. You have to do this practice. I can't do it for you. So I know it's a lot of action that I give, that I provide. It's you taking accountability, radical accountability for your life. Yes, you could talk to me, but this is not a therapy session. You're not about to vent to me all day. I'm going to hear your problem, give you a solution, and you have to do the work to see the fruits of your labor. So that's what I was.
That's very helpful. So if you're listening right now and you feel like you got to start at the foundation or you got to go back to getting your mind right, you should definitely link up with Khloé because she specializes in the mindset coaching. I think for someone who's not sure what they're struggling in or just feel like they need like a coach. Like I felt like that for a while. Like I was like, I need a coach, but in my mind, I'm like, I need a business coach. I need a business coach that's going to take me to the next level, that's really going to hone in and will be able to figure out like how I get my business from this to that. Like in my mind, I was like business coach, business coach, business coach. But then I took a step back and was like, maybe a life coach could help. Maybe I'll start with a life coach and get a business coach. But I kind of think mindset, life, business. I don't know. It just depends on what area you're struggling with the most. Like, do you need to be specifically working on your mindset to get unstuck or to be able to move to the next level? Or do you need to just focus on, I guess, your life in general? Because I think life coaches, I'm still new. I'm only 1 week in, y'all, so don't hold me to it. But I believe life coaches help you with setting those realistic goals and to be able to do those micro steps. So if you ever heard of SMART goals, that's what my life coach has broke that down to me, that we'll be working on SMART goals and checking in once a week to make sure I'm making progress toward that goal.
I was at that spot too where I wanted a marketing coach so bad. I'm like, I know my stuff, but I want someone to take me to another level, like how you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it would have been a waste of my money because my mindset. Here's the thing: you could want to business, but do you feel like you're the type of person that could comfortably receive $1 million? That's the work. If you could get $1 million, but are you going to blow it in a day? Or are you going to have a heart attack because you're not used to having that much money? Like you have to. The whole point of my work is to get you to be the person that's ready to receive what they want. You're not making $1 million. You might feel like an imposter. You might self-sabotage.
I like how you're breaking that down. So true.
Yeah, because this is the work. Like, let's just say the goal was a man. You want a man that treats you like a queen, but are you going to wonder what's wrong with him if he buys you 20 bouquets of flowers and takes you on a yacht, y'all first date? Are you going to be okay?
Is this a personal? It's like, no, I'm playing.
Like, this is like the goal is you can have $1 million business and blow that million like you ain't even have it. Look at lottery winners. They're not used to having 500
That's
million.
True. That's true.
Listen, it's mindset. You can get the goals, but are you able to sustain it? Will you not self-sabotage it? The thing is not about the money. It's about you. Can you handle the money? When you was a kid, your mama told you couldn't get that toy because it cost too much. You might not even be attracting that type of money just because you have the goal of $1 million because your beliefs are, I'm not worthy.
Let's get into it. You better talk.
Let's keep it real. Like it's all
That's
about.
True.
That's why it's called Self First University, not money first, not luck. Yeah, self love, not success first. It's self first. When I break it down to people, I don't have children. I know mothers are different about who comes first in their life, and that's fine. I don't have any children. I'm the most important person in my life. I'm gonna make sure Khloé is good on all fronts. Period. That means my mind, my discipline, my focus. It's on me. And that's every layer of me. Me in relation to money. Me in relation to relationships. Me in relation to being a qualified business. That's something I personally struggle with. I knew my stuff, but I didn't think anybody would buy from me. So guess what? They did. I didn't think people would buy. Why would they? I don't even think that of myself. So why would somebody else believe in me more than I believe in me? We have to get to the foundation.
That's true. That's true. And that That brings me to say that you're never, I don't know, you're never done doing the work. I believe that personal development is kind of like a continuous thing. Like not that you're continuously healing, but you're continuously working to get to your best self or to like fulfill your purpose in life. So just like I feel like you can work on your mindset to get you to the point where you're able to start your business, supplement your income, but maybe you're able to do all of that work by yourself, but then you hit a snag or you hit a block where it's like, okay, like I didn't worked on myself, I didn't did the personal development, I was able to go from a 9 to 5 to start a business, but then you're stuck because maybe you still need to do some more mindset work. Maybe you just worked on yourself enough to be able to go from check to invoice, but not enough to go from check to check to million to million. You feel me? Like I'm gonna keep coming back to that. But you're so right. You're always gonna have to be working on personal development. You're always gonna have to be working on your mindset. Whether you can do that alone, great. But if you have ADHD or if you're just one of those type of people that need some accountability or a coach, then that's what a mindset coach would be helpful for. So now I got it.
I agree.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the way I look at life, you're gonna grow. You might make 100,000 a month, but your goal is 500,000 a month. Maybe your body and mind is comfortable with that, but 500,000 sounds intimidating. How am I going to be valuable at that? Like these are things your mind thinks. It goes to the examples. Oh, people that make $500,000 a month, they're evil. That's going to impact your belief. Well, be an evil person because money, these beliefs
They're
shape.
scammers or they're they scammers. Like
Yeah, they can't outvalue. I know a guy right now that charge a designer. He charges 2,500 for an hour of his time because he said so.
20 of them.
Because at the end of the day, he started at 250 an hour, but he's great because at the end of realistically, you could charge $1 million an hour for what you do right now if you want to. If you feel like you capable of doing that, I charge 350 an hour. I used to charge one. Yeah, one day I was just I'm gonna go from 250 to 350. Why not? Not just frivolously. Clearly, I know what I offer is valuable. However, the only limits are the ones you set for yourself. Who said take
I
$1
like
million?
that one. The only limits are the ones you set for yourself. So from limited mindset to limitless mindset. Okay, so just even if it's on a subconscious level, we have a tendency of putting limits on ourselves. Even if we don't think we do, we're like, oh, we're the most confident or we got it, but subconsciously you're gonna be putting limits on yourself. So that's where that mindset work comes into. Got it. So ADHD people, just to give a recap, we went so much into mindset shifts for growth, but we also talked about technology and tools. We talked about prioritizing health to boost productivity. We talked about simplifying your workspace, getting rid of some of that clutter. We talked about developing emotional resilience. We talked about setting realistic goals using micro steps. We didn't really talk about distractions. And I think the last thing besides distractions is I want to go a little bit more into accountability. But distractions, if you have ADHD and you have a tendency to bounce from one thing to another or you're easily distracted, you want to make sure you try to limit your interruptions. I know one thing before when I had a 9 to 5 or when I was like working virtually, I was able to pick up my phone. I was able to take phone calls throughout the day. Hey girl, I'm just working. Oh, you got such and such going on. Yeah. But when I started my business and really had to, tap in, go into tunnel vision, that stuff completely changed. It was like, oh, I'm putting my phone on do not disturb. Like I need to really, really focus because I am building something from scratch. I'm no longer working for a company. I have to reduce and limit my distractions even more. So for some, that might look like putting your phone on do not disturb. That might look like putting headphones on or creating a distraction free workspace. Maybe you need to go from outside of your house to a quiet space, maybe a library or something like that. It can look like that. It can look like proactive planning. So blocking distractive apps. I mean, we all know sometimes we get into doom scrolling on social media, looking to see what the shade room got going on, Hollywood Unlocked, what's going on in the news. We just get so many things going on. It's easy to get distracted. So one thing that you can do is block distracting apps or websites to stay on task. There's even apps. Stay focused or freedom. There are apps that can help you block certain apps or websites. So you can actually use those apps to do that.
I have a couple of things with that. I recommend. Okay, this is what I do during the week. The weekend.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's usually my. Sorry. I turn my text message notifications off throughout the day from 9 a.m. to about 6 p.m. I just turn them off and I check in on my text messages every 3 hours. That's what I do, and I set alarms to remind me to check. Because texting, it's cute, it's convenient. You want to chat real quick. That can end up you sitting there, like you said, just messaging, not getting anything done. So with this practice, you're controlling when you're looking at your phone. Not every time it dings, you're going to it because you're not even getting your text notifications. That's what I do. And then I do the whole timer thing on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. So I know some people ignore it, but me personally, if I have something to do, it's like, okay, this is my reminder. I got to get off the app now. You know what I mean? It's that way to stay, because, you know, we're human. We won't, because we know everything isn't just business and healing and reprogramming. And I'm a big reprogrammer. We still have to live life. We want a sense of entertainment. Those things are fine. But if you know you have something to do, you have to be disciplined in yourself. Yes, these apps are tools, but remember, you have to go in there and set this function. You have to decide this is the lifestyle you're going to live. Because I actually have a story. When I joined an ADHD group, and I'm not a group think type of person, so I don't know why. My therapist recommended it. I was like, okay, girl, I'll be different. I'm not a group think type of person. So I joined this ADHD group, and I have a decent executive functioning compared to other people. So I was, well, when I get notifications, I go to my phone, look at them, and get off my phone, because that's what I was doing at that time. I had that much self-control to where I know that I don't even want to scroll on social media. And they started attacking me. Oh, do you even have ADHD? Yeah, I have it. I
make a group attacking you. What kind of community is that?
Because I hold people accountable. That's what I do. Because while ADHD is a part of your life, I don't let it rule me. I rule my mind. Yes, my mind is shaped differently or thinks different, but I still set the parameters. I decide I'm going to get on Facebook, look at my notifications, and then get off. I choose that. ADHD doesn't do that for me because I'm still the operant power in my reality. So while ADHD, and I'm glad we're getting back on topic because I was going to... Yes, ADHD is a part of your life. However, don't use it as a crutch. Don't use it as an excuse to not get stuff done. There are plenty of tools providing to where you do not have to be a victim to ADHD. You do not. At some point, because no one else, as you could tell, to live your life for you. You have to decide when you're going to do better. This is a radical accountability journey.
Yeah. Accountability.
I don't play, because with me, be ready to face yourself. Because I do my work, so you can't project onto me. I'm going to be a mirror to all the stuff you need to face. Because it's a lot you have to face within yourself, because it's life. You know, so I make that clear. Sometimes people think this is child's play, and this is deep. Like I said, you're literally changing brain cells. You're changing neural pathways when you think positively. It's literally altering your body's DNA. That in turn alters your physical reality. A lot of people, I don't know, people are into manifestation. Well, I believe everybody's manifesting. Conscious manifesting, intentional manifesting. Oh, today I'm going to get me a cup of coffee. Or I'm gonna see me a pink Jeep today. And you see it, that's manifesting. You created that. You know, so that's a totally different topic. But mindset and manifestation to me go hand in hand, but we could just stick to the mindset stuff. That's cool.
No, I think you brought up some good points, and one of the things I feel like I wanted to touch on was the power of accountability. If you don't already, at least have someone that's an accountability partner. That could be a friend, or that could be a coach, or someone who has the same goals as you in business, or mentor pretty much. But get someone that can be your accountability partner, and then you can also do body doubling. So I've just learned about this, but it's how you can share how you work with someone else. So if that's like happen on a Zoom call, so you guys can work virtually together, or go into a coffee shop or co-working space together, that can help people with ADHD focus better just by working with someone. Me, I
100%.
was like, but I do think that's beneficial if both of you guys are on the same type of time. So get you somebody that's going to hold you accountable, but also is just as locked in, if not more, as you. I feel like that's very important. And then public accountability. Sometimes we keep our goals to ourselves, or we like to, oh, we moving in silence. Yes, that's cool. But if you share your goals, if not with accountability partner, if you share it on social media, if you share it with your team, you're more than likely to follow through because you shared those goals publicly. So those are just some options. Accountability partner, body doubling, meaning grab a friend, grab someone and work virtually or work in person together, or public accountability. So yeah, those are just three ways that you can stay accountable. So if you feel like you can't afford Khloé yet, but you working to afford Khloé, get yourself an accountability partner.
I agree because when I started, and I don't think I said this at all on this live. So my specific belief is the law of assumption. Is basically
Mm,
to assume is what will be true to you. So I had a friend that I actually encouraged to get on this journey with me. So I had a built-in accountability partner. I
mm,
mean, I don't know, not really. We were just disciplined in what we did. So it was just more so like catching up, seeing what you up to. And I get everybody's not at this level. I didn't have a coach. I just got a manifestation coach like yesterday, literally like yesterday. I paid for it because on this year and a half, I was learning through TikTok, through experience. I had to hold myself accountable. But I'm not. But yeah, if you can
mm.
hold you accountable, great. But remember, we're not when they're not there. You still have to have some integrity about yourself. Just like if you had a personal trainer, they're gonna, if you don't wake up and go to the gym, your body's one day um stuck of the body you want. It doesn't hurt anybody by you not showing up. So remember to stay disciplined for yourself. Yes, the accountability partner is cool, but don't rely on it as your source of getting it done. Because what if they off a day? You gonna be off a day too? No.
Mm.
You got to remember that you still have to show up for you regardless to what's going on because this is still your life. So
That's for sure.
I'm all for grace and all for help, but you still have to challenge yourself as an individual because
I agree.
this is the work. It's work. The mental work is work. It's energy work, and it's just as tiring as doing the physical work, if you ask me. So
Yeah.
it requires the same tenacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me ask you, just to wrap it up and bring it on home, what are some of the ways that you've been able to leverage ADHD as your superpower in your business?
Being no nonsense in my business because that's how I naturally speak, and I feel like no nonsense, straight to the point, meat and potatoes, no fluff, gets the job done.
Mm,
That's very what I would say masculine in energy, and there's a place for masculine energy as it's I don't know if you know. I try not to assume people know everything. As things, we all possess both masculine and feminine energy, and there's a place for it. I'm a woman, so primarily I'm more in my feminine energy. When I'm around a man, I'm more in my feminine energy, more so in general. But in business, it's no time for yes, I need no, it's I need you to do your mirror work. 5 times a day for 10 minutes, whatever the instruction. It's no fluff. It's no coddling. It's direct. It's transformative because the coddling got you here. Someone trying to be patting you on the back, not saying don't show praise. So it's a delicate balance in this. I get straight to the nitty gritty, and that gets people results within days.
So
Not
your
saying,
bluntness.
yeah, the bluntness, but that's who I am. So I can attribute that's how my brain functions. I'm blunt. I'm real. I don't have to lie to nobody. I say what I mean the first time. It's straight to the. It's no. I have integrity about myself. You know what to get from Khloé. You know you're gonna get the realness because that's the only way I operate. So ADHD has been nothing. Yeah, of course I had some hiccups with the forgetfulness, time management, losing stuff, but those are things that can be practiced to be better. So it's not an excuse, but ADHD has mainly benefited me. It's me. You know, I don't see it as separation. It's just how my brain works, and that's fine.
Yeah. So for those of you guys that's listening that feel like ADHD is a weakness, is actually a superpower that you can use in your business, because think about it, your brain literally works different from other people. And I'll just share one of my strengths, or I feel like ADHD has mainly worked for me since I've been undiagnosed until a couple months ago. Obviously, it's been working for me. Of course, you know, when it comes to things like forgetfulness or maybe getting overstimulated more, those are the things that kind of like are red flags that probably would get someone to get up and get tested or to figure out if they have it. It's, of course, they have some things that's not working for them. But in the bigger picture aspect, I feel like in my business and the way my brain works, it helps me being able to consult others, being able to just dig through their entire business. So during my consultation, whether you're coming on for some operational support to delegate some tasks or to get some virtual assistant, social media help, whatever you coming on, whatever service you coming on for, I automatically ask you for all your information. I'm asking you for your website handles, your social media handles. I'm asking you for your 1 year goals, your 5 year goals, and I will comb through everything. And what I've noticed, what I thought was just normal, is that I'm able just to see the bigger picture. So I'm able to comb through your stuff and find the holes, or just automatically see where you're lacking at. And I didn't notice that was something that I guess about hyper focus or just being able to big picture thinking. But a lot of people with ADHD, since our brains work differently, we're able to see connections others might miss, or we're able to see holes others might miss. So that leads to innovative ideas. So a lot of my creativity or strategies is because I can see what you don't see. So that has always been one of my strengths, and being able to kind of hyper focus and multitask. Like even when I did like help desk IT, I was the only person able to manage the system the way I managed it. And I didn't notice, because I was hyper focusing on it, that bringing someone in that didn't have ADHD, because I kept training people. I'm like, why they can't keep up? This is easy. But I've learned throughout my life, and especially transitioning over from corporate to my business, that was one of my soft skills, or one of my, I guess, gifts that really, really worked as a superpower in my business. So hyper focusing, big picture thinking, creative strategies, and being able to see what others don't see, because your brain works differently, is actually a superpower. So if you're listening, I hope that you get to a point where you're thriving with your ADHD in business and your personal life, because a lot of gems were dropped here. Khloé, is there any advice you would give someone that's struggling right now that has ADHD and they're just surviving, they're not thriving? Is there any, last words of encouragement that you can share with those people?
A couple of things. I said this. I think this is the first one of the first things I said getting on here. Please reach out to someone. I don't care if it's a crisis hotline, a therapist, a professional, preferably. If you feel hopeless or you just don't know what to do, please seek help. Seek help. Not in the, I'm not saying, of course, I'm not saying that in a mean way. I know people say that mean. I don't mean it like that. Please find someone that can help you Find someone to talk to. And then also, I know we talked a lot about productivity with ADHD, but I also want to encourage people to rest genuinely. Not just lay in the bed, but intentionally rest and relax and feel safe in your body. That's what I want to encourage, because it's amazing doing all these things, making sure your business, yeah, that's fine. But you're still a human being. You've been on overdrive. Your brain has been running 1,000,000 miles per minute. Please learn how to intentionally relax. And if you guys ever need any support, whether it's free resources or paid resources, whatever you're interested in, I will help you. I will give you something to help yourself. I'm here to help you help you. That's what I'm here to do. So that's all I got for that.
That was some encouraging last words. So yeah, let's go from surviving to thriving with ADHD. And thank you so much, Khloé, for coming on. Share your social media handles.
Yes, thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it. So on Facebook, it's Khloé Mignon. I don't know if my name is anywhere, but spelled how you see it here or somewhere on this session. My Instagram is Self First University, and my TikTok is Self First University.
Yes, and all the links should be in the description as well, where you can find me and where you can find Khloé. So make sure you subscribe if you're watching from YouTube. If you want a copy of that time blocking sheet, drop your email address. And until next episode, take care and make sure you're thriving.
Yes, bye.